Okay, it's recording. My name is Sam Turpin. I'm a musician, artist, rapper, music producer, film producer, and yeah, I'm just myself.
So you just look at the camera and say, I know you also have worked extensively as a model at one point.
I don't know about extensively. I have modeled before.
Yeah.
I like fashion. Shout out fashion industry. I'm not so involved there, but yeah, I've modeled before.
Yeah. How did that come about?
To be honest, you just get asked at one point. Fortunate to have a couple friends who are designers. So at one stage or another, actually, the first model job I have was when Dip Street was still in Braamfontein. Shout out to Tusa from Dip Street, and he was just like, "We have this new collection. We want some Insta posts, so come through and model." So I went there with Illa also was there from the band. So we did some gigs, and then we have other friends who are in fashion or are designers or are photographers, and they're like, "Hey, I'm doing this project. Will you come model?" So, but I've never had a contract for modeling. Got offered one, but
Yeah.
didn't work out.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know about extensively, but yeah.
How much has like existing in that space influenced the space, or has it had?
Um, Look, I'm not gonna lie and say they're not connected. They are. We once did a show for Ray-Bans, for example, for Adidas. So they do meet, but I wouldn't say. I mean, fashion in and of itself is inspiring, but it is a different world from music. The fashion industry is its own thing. The music industry is its own thing. Like I said, they do meet, and it can be beautiful when they meet.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've always said this: if you're in music and you're a musical artist, you should be doing that anyway.
Yeah.
If you like fashion and you want to express yourself, then 100% do that too. If you want to put it in your videos and photos, but I think that whatever your main passion is should always be what drives you, and then when other things come along, try and make it beautiful.
Yeah.
So hopefully more of those beautiful collaborations happen
Yeah.
between music and fashion.
I've noticed there's a very fashion kind of influence and aesthetic in a lot of your music videos.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the thing is, and I think it's quite particular to the African continent, is that many people use fashion as their language, their visual language, as their mode of expression.
Yeah.
So I think it can be an effective tool to send messages. So I think that's more where I have wanted to approach it from. It's some people approach fashion just to be flashy, or just that's not really where I'm coming from with it. So if you've noticed it, that's cool, because I don't really try to make it that deliberate. Yeah, it's just more like it's another language. Film is language, fashion is language, music is language. So as long as you can utilize a way to speak visually, then if it complements the music and vice versa.
Yeah. Speaking of music, I noticed you making some
Just messing with some ideas.
Can you walk us through what your process is like usually?
It's never uniform, so I don't have a singular process, but what you've just seen me do now, for example, is just create a drum pattern. So that's this.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll start like that, but at other times I might have I might start maybe with a bass line and get something cool. So I might record that first and then do the drums after, or another instrument. It depends what my idea is. So, okay, this is my process. Usually when I get an idea, whatever it is in my head, I try and get it down in some form or another and then build on top of that. But I don't choose when that happens. It's like I said, it's not a uniform process. So I don't have in my calendar, right, Monday 9 a.m. make music. It's not like that at all.
Oh, okay.
It can happen whenever.
So like 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's happened at 3 o'clock in the morning. I wake up, I have to, because you're going to tell yourself you'll remember, but you won't remember.
Yeah.
You have to put it down somehow. I was on an airplane once, and I got this idea, and I had to like disturb the people who were sleeping next to me to get up and go into the toilet, and I just pulled my phone out and I recorded on my voice app, and then when I landed, I just went straight to where I was staying, and I just had to do the idea, and it became a song. So that's how it happens. You can be anywhere and anytime. That's how the creativity strikes.
And what's the difference in process? So like you make your own music, but you also are part of like a couple of groups.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So what is the difference in process you've noticed there?
Sort of. I don't know. It depends. It kind of happens by itself. It depends what I have to say. So if I have to say something and the way I'm gonna say it happens through what would be a very Sam Turpin-esque expression. It's going to be then something I do by myself. If it's something I feel like could complement what we all do in, for example, the Charles Jean Suite group, I'll bring the idea and then everyone else elaborates on it because I know that that's how it had to go. Similarly, the other group called Chinese Food, that's always been a very personality-based endeavor. Based on, again, how I'm saying certain things. So if I get the expression to say something like that, then I'll call Ella up and be like, yo, I have an idea for called Chinese Food. So it depends where the message is coming from and how it has to be said, because the suite has different capabilities. Me personally, the way I express sometimes doesn't gel with how someone else would do it, and then I just have to do it myself. But I always have a policy that I won't put something out unless it's better than what I did before, at least in my own assessment. So it depends. But like, you know, if the suite come to me and say, hey, we're doing a project and we want just everyone's own individual thing, so bring us something that's just yours and then we're just going to include it, that can happen too. It's a very, that's why I say it depends, but it's a very open process, and it depends on the message that needs to be sent out.
Interesting. And because I have noticed there is a bit of a difference between what you do with like the Charles Jean Suite versus your own stuff. Your own stuff has a very like unique like audio aesthetic. How did you come across that? What kind of influences helped you build that?
That's a tricky question. I don't draw on influences for that. It's to me, when that happens, it's because that's how it sounded inside me, and I just have to get it out. And I mean, sometimes I've sat on the songs for years because it's not sounding, I can't get it to sound how it is inside. So then I won't release it. And other times it's happened almost immediately, where what I thought was the demo is perfect to me because that's how it was anyway, and then I put that out. Very unconventional, so I take that, but it's not. It's just whatever something is already like in me. That's how I have to send it out. And this, you know, that's difficult because whatever's inside a person might not be what the world wants or is expecting, or so you have to contend with that. But I think then that's the price. You know, you have to be true to yourself, and I think most artists can understand what I'm saying.
And then with regards to what you've been doing here, can you like just take us through how this is coming about and shaping up in your head? Is there an idea that you started with, or is there?
No, I just was like, okay, what am I doing here? How do I want these to sound? So I can take you through. I have in the drums here, let me just pull it up, a hi-hat pattern, which is literally just this here. Very standard, but you know, it's something to go off of. Then you want to turn it into a beat, you add the heartbeat, and then you want to turn it into a groove, you add the claps, and now you have a rhythm going. And look, again, I'm not really, I don't have a goal with this. I'm just showing you what I do. But when you have something like that, you know, and then if you say to somebody rap, you know, and you put that on, there's a beat they can rap to. So you do meet certain standards in terms of the culture, because you can't be too expressive that you start to isolate an audience or a crowd, because you want to share your art and your work. So there has to be a language that other people understand. So once, for example, once you have drums, you can then start doing other things. This is a Rhodes sound. Sorry, 1 second. Very well known jazz sound. So you could do chords like, for example, and then just loop that, and now you've got a somewhat of a beat. Maybe you add a bass line because people like that very like low, they want it to buzz through the speakers or whatever. And I don't know, then for example, what I'm doing, so this is what I would call a hip-hop way to compose music. I'm thinking of all these things because of my experience in hip-hop, but there are other ways to do it. Sometimes I write down notes and then I play it later, or maybe I'm not thinking about hip-hop, I'm thinking of a film, how I would score it, and then I go that way, and now I'm just playing synthesizers and trying to sequence that for hours on end. Like I said, it always depends on what I'm trying to do. But yeah, this, for example, is how I would throw together. You know, if somebody said make a beat in 5 minutes, I would probably do something like this. This is MoeLycaen's MPC. Anyone who's worked with us before knows this machine. It's the classic. It's always been around as long as I've known dude. So again, shout out MoeLycaen, classic. Can't go wrong with the old school Akai MPC. So we perform with that on stage. We use it in studio. Best of the best. There is no contest. Yeah, then we just have mixes for recording and sending out to the rest of the studio. Um, this Nord synthesizer is a Charles Jean Suite staple. Shout out my man Noah. Some of the sounds on the album came from here, some of our stage performances. This is a unique feature. This is what I think it is. Yeah, this is a very special one too. This made a cameo in the Whiskey music video. Also some wonderful sounds on here that we use to try and do what we do. Gary, who's upstairs right now, he's a drummer, so wonderful percussionist. We've got his drum kits here. He's got a hand pan as well, digital drum kit. As you can see, we love drums, drum machines, drum kits. What we do is quite drum heavy. Just some guitar amps. The guitars are over there. This is also Noah's bass, Charles Jean Suite staple. We've played this a bunch of times on stage and in studio. I've also been privileged to play it. So that rests here. And yeah, I'm not sure what else to show you. More drum stuff, percussion, all-round welcoming vibe. Welcome to the suite, Charles Jean Suite. And yeah, hopefully see you somewhere soon, maybe on stage, maybe in here.
What are you listening to right now?
Okay, wait, I don't want to snitch on myself. Let me think very carefully. We all have our guilty pleasures. What am I listening to right now? I'm listening to a lot of Ghanaian hip hop. There's some cool stuff happening in Ghana. And some artists getting very huge right now. I don't want to name drop anybody because, hey man, this is not their thing. You know, they got their own things going on. Shout out them. But there's a lot of cool stuff happening out of Ghana. I'm listening to a lot of South African music, especially jazz, especially Afro soul, things that sort of reach me differently. I've been listening to a lot of. Okay, I'm gonna expose one of my guilty pleasures, Dido.
Yeah.
Dido's career was amazing. 2003, 2004. That album, White Flag, Thank You, just touches you differently, and her voice is smooth and special. So I've been listening to Dido, but I always listen to a lot of different music. I'm always playing Fela Kuti. I'm always playing some desert blues from West Africa. So yeah, I'm always playing very many different things. A lot of sonic input. But yeah, I've had that Ghanaian hip hop on loop for a bit.
Nice. Any recommendations?
Yeah, okay, let me say definitely check out Black Sheriff, definitely check out Kweku Flick, Yautog and his whole crew. They're doing some dope stuff. Shout out my boy Stilo, Yao P, who I have a song with from Accra. So yeah, but Ghana especially, Nigeria has their Afro beats. It's beautiful. We have our Amapiano. Ghana has its own thing. They've always had high life. But their hip hop right now, I think, is very special. There's a lot of cool moments happening.
Yeah.
So don't be scared to check out something that's different from what you know.
Great. And then what advice do you have for anyone who's either trying to move into making music or just the music space in general?
Ooh, you gotta be prepared to really go for what you want and hustle. And it's not going to be easy. There are a ton of things up against young artists starting out. So you have to have that. You have to try and find your tenaciousness to be able to go out and try and grab what you want. And I don't mean that in the sense of being selfish. I mean that in the sense of you have to have the ability to assert yourself as an artist with presence in a space. Because you want to perform. You want to have a production where you're shooting your music video. You want to be able to sit in a room with people and create a song and not be told to leave. So all of that requires a courage that I had to find it at one point as a young man, and I think most artists should find, young girls and women too. Anybody who's trying to do art has to find that courage to assert themselves. It's not easy. It's hard. We live in a world that sort of discourages that, or tells you to be quiet or sit back or don't come out. So find the courage. If you have to have a lot of fortitude. So keep strong. Make sure you're healthy. Make sure you're mentally okay. Don't go down the wrong rabbit holes. Learn to recognize when something can be a trap because there's a lot of scams and things like that. Once you have these skills, do what you do, be proud of what you do, stand on it, tell people, and don't be scared, you know, because the arts and music can be beautiful. So don't be scared to try and create beauty and share it with the world, because the world needs more beauty.
Yeah. Thank you. I think I've accidentally asked all my questions. So